Welcome to my channel. I'm Dan the Wolfman, and I've been on a true lifelong martial arts journey, and I adventured around the world, but I was once young like everybody else. I got my first black belt in Taekwondo, and then Daidojuku Kudo in Japan, my third and highest on grappling system from Gokar Shavichian and Judo Jean LaBelle, and finally in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, though I'm known more as a catch wrestler. I trained with legends Dan Severn, Tito Ortiz, Rampage Jackson, Kazushi Sakuraba, even rolled with Joe Rogan 2 years. Sparred Lyoto Machida and Roger Gracie, messed around with Anderson Silva, Fabricio Verdum, rolled with Chael Sonnen, but I worked as an actor and stuntman in shows like Sons of Anarchy, Real Steel, Couples Retreat, NCIS, CSI New York, and The Passage. You can even see me in Cobra Kai and Jumanji. I lived in Japan, worked out, trained, sparred, taught, and even did some pro wrestling in All Japan, and commentated Pancrase live on UFC Fight Pass. In armed security, and I've been through SWAT school. So if you want to learn how to fight like John Wick and shoot like him too, subscribe and get my Combatives and Street Jiu-Jitsu instructional on BJJ Fanatics. Thanks.
And please subscribe.
All the fake tubers. Here's me versus 30 of the top MMA champions and 13 UFC vets in the world with 510 wins, 250 losses, 45 draws. That's 805 fights, and that's not even including the two last guys, 3 wrestlers, and a couple others in this video. Here's me versus UFC title contender Jeremy Horn going in with a boxing blast. He's 92, 22, and 5 in MMA, and probably a few more off the record besides that. Superman punch. And here's a straight blast versus Yuki Kondo, Pancrase champion and UFC title contender. That was Bruce Lee's favorite technique. I was the first to do it in MMA. Here's me grappling UFC's Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung, 16-6 record with the drag back choke crank there. And here's Akane Basami on deep champion Yashiyuki Nakanishi, 16-5 record. Now here's me versus deep champion and one contender Ken Hasegawa, 16-4-1. Got him with Kosotogaki in a side mount, and I actually tapped him. The one time I tapped him with a reverse toe hold there. That was a lateral drop on middleweight Pancrase champion Izuri Takeuchi, 25-11-7. We missed Shingo Suzuki, Pancrase champion, 13-2, now versus UFC and K1 champion Yasuhiro Akiyama, aka Sexyama, 15-7. Little small glove training, getting busy with the hands, shifting, trying to avoid his takedown entries, and now some big gloves, going for real. He went hard with big gloves. Pop them with the 1-1-2. Look at all my other narrated sparring videos. Shift 3. I got 5 narrated sparring videos thus far that will be coming out. Then I got my cluster fighting advanced MMA neo striking system. You're going to want to look at those videos, guys. And my 10 narrated rare submission grappling highlights as I traveled around the world as a brown belt, going with tons of pro fighters, great grapplers, judo, jiu-jitsu guys, combat wrestling guys. Nailed them with that overhand there. This was Akiyama in his prime, about to take on Amir Sadala, training for that fight, which he won, by the way. Little mosh pit hop there. And a low kick. So unbelievably, haters online assume, oh, he never went with anyone good because they saw me teaching some teens, or they saw me rolling in Malaysia with my students, tiny Asians. Boy, people on the couches are quite idiots. I went with more pro fighters than probably anyone else alive over 20 years. 600-700 guys who fought in top organizations. This is just some of the footage against top guys I have. I didn't have footage sparring Kane or Herschel Walker or Tank or Severn or Fabricio Verdum or Quentin Rampage Jackson or Machida or Tito. On and on and on and on. I went with big, small, everybody. Here against Korean Zombie. Earlier we said is 16-6 currently as of this taping. First time I sparred him at his gym in Seoul. Sprawling, taking the back, but letting him up because I'm bigger. Jab, fake hook to low kick. You're going to want to watch my narrated videos where I really teach you about all my off-rhythm blitz switch attacks and kind of weird-looking combos that work again and again and again on different top fighters around the world. Then you're going to want to learn my cluster fighting system, how you put combinations of combinations together. There's those shifting hooks again. Boy, we saw the alpha male guys eventually get all kinds of knockouts with that. And yet here I was doing it in 2014. Interesting. Nailing him with that calf kick. Again, in 2014, I was preaching it and teaching it and counters in 2012. 5 years before UFC commentators ever even mentioned calf kicks. Look at all my blitzing combos, shifting combos, hitting from odd angles, loose and flowy, non-telegraphic, my friend. Look at this raising elbow, block / elbow to the face there. Now going against UFC's Da Un Young, 13-2-1, 6-fight win streak and a draw, I believe. Nailing him with that calf kick. I'm just shy of 5'11". He's like 6'2" or 6'3" or 6'4". I think 6'3". Inside calf kick 1-2. That's in my cluster 1, guys. You're going to want to look when those cluster fighting videos finally come out, where I finally share just some of the first few clusters, some of my secrets. Really, I'm 37 with lupus at this time. I'm 40 and a half here against these guys in Korean top team. That is Do Hwan Kim, 12-5-1. Now, Don Fry Takayama moment here, with little clinches and uppercuts. That was some manliness going on. Nobody even knows what being manly is anymore. Trying to use my speed, footwork, attack by drawing, kicks against him. Kick, punch, punch, kick. That time to the liver, guys. You'll see that in my other narrated videos. A lot of times going to the head, but often missing the head. Fake overhand and dip high kick. You see that over and over again. You might want to pay attention. Oh, but that's not what I learned in my Muay Thai class. Well, here's what works. MMA striking, Neo MMA striking. It's different, baby. It's off rhythm. Here I am against Shinzo Anza, UFC vet, former pancreas middleweight champion, 11-4 record. So props to all these great pros that let me train. A lot of this here in Japan was at 37 years old. My weird 6-punch system, my distracting hands way back when. Before you saw, guys like Machida and a little bit Anderson Silva using that. Isn't that interesting? I did spend 3 months sparring and training at Blockhouse. And Nilan Okami now, Yushin Okami, 37-14, UFC title contender, fought Anderson Silva for the title. And Okami, I probably never won a round on. Even rounds where I would beat him in the standing, the predominance of the round, he would then drive me to the cage or get a takedown late, probably stealing a round the way judges were scoring back then. See me hit the sit out and kind of peek on the side, and I get on top. Oh, a little cartwheel guard pass, but a little too slow in the butterfly guard. Flying over now. Bellying down, coming out. All right, some front turtle downward head pressure here. And I go to the front headlock, come around, and use that opportunity to mount and work on a 5-finger guillotine, though I didn't get him. Here now going against UFC multi-time title contender Chael Sonnen, 31-17-1. First time ever rolling with Chael P in the gi. Yes, that's Chael. I snapped him down, worked on a 10-finger guillotine right away. He's got pretty good hand control, gets out of that. Working on passing that half guard now, knee sliding through into side control. And I do a spinning Rooney double knee bar Russian cowboy style, going for the tap instead of just trying to get a moral victory by going for holding position. Here against UFC title contender, longtime pancrase champion Yuki Kondo. So this kicks from guard, old school Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, real Jiu-Jitsu. And now my third fight against Jeremy Morrison, 10-13-2 record. Now I'm barring 310-pound scary Jerry Verbanovic, 7-7-1. And the top wrist lock, get bridged over, flowing to the other arm, belly down, upside down, hanging outside, gravity armbar there. And now against some wrestler in an Iowa bar with Jeremy Horn watching, I believe. Triangle choke on this wrestler. Yeah, baby.